Hey everybody, it's Eric, 80s Horror Man here, and welcome to shelf number 2 of whatever horror movies I have in my collection. Okay, first off, we have is Silver Bullet from Stephen King. That's one of my favorite werewolf movies of all time. Actually, my number one favorite. Next, Maximum Overdrive. This is a movie that Stephen King wrote and directed. This was his directorial debut when he did this movie. Next we have is The Shining. Classic. I know I skipped Misery because I consider Misery more being a suspense than a horror film. Next we have is It, the original. This was like a TV miniseries here. Next we have is Sometimes They Come Back. This was also a TV movie that they did back in the early 90s. Next we have is Night Flyer. I wish this movie would get like a Blu-ray release because this is actually a very fun vampire movie here of Stephen King's. Next, Christine, directed by John Carpenter. That's from a Stephen King book. Classic. Creepshow. This is a anthology where it has 5 short stories. That's done from a book by Stephen King and directed by George A. Romero, the guy who directed the originals Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. Creepshow 2. Good movie, very fun. I never saw the third one, but I heard that a lot of people saying it's actually very bad. Creepshow Season 1, based on a TV show that they played on Shudder. But I know I need to get Season 2 of Creepshow. Hopefully I will eventually. Cujo, classic. Even though it's a good movie, but I just feel bad for the dog. Pet Sematary, the original, classic. Pet Sematary 2. I definitely like this one a little bit more than I do with the first one, because this is actually a very fun movie to watch. The Blob from 1988, the remake. I never saw the original version, but The Blob, very fun movie. Shocker from Wes Craven, classic movie, very fun here. The People Under the Stairs, another popular movie of Wes Craven's, classic. The Hills Have Eyes, the original, or that's done by Wes Craven, classic right here. All the way down to here. Body Parts. This is actually a very fun movie. This is definitely one of my favorites, and I love the music to this film. I have the soundtrack, especially with the high screech of the violins. That's the main part of the music. I end up whistling to that tune as well. The First Power. I remember seeing this movie a long time ago. I used to have this on tape. This was actually a very good movie to watch with Lou Diamond Phillips in it. Dead Calm. This is like a little mixture of horror and suspense. This is actually a very fun movie here. Classic. Screamers. This is actually a very good movie to watch. I definitely ended up liking this one. I thought Peter Weller did a very good job in this one here. I definitely love the theme music to Screamers as well. 15th anniversary edition of The Frighteners with Michael J. Fox. This is a very fun movie where Michael J. Fox could actually see ghosts. Trick or Treat, classic 80s rock horror movie here. Definitely one of my favorites. The soundtrack is definitely awesome. Mirrors. I saw this movie in the theaters and I loved it, and I thought the soundtrack to this movie was actually very good, especially the opening music to this film, and I thought this was actually one of Kiefer Sutherland's best ones, because I like The Lost Boys and Mirrors. I find these two to be the best ones of his. Fright Night, the remake. I saw this movie in 3D in theaters, and I thought this was actually a very fun movie to watch, and I thought Colin Farrell did a very good job at playing a vampire, and I thought the soundtrack was good as well. Evil Dead remake. My best friend and I saw this in theaters, and we definitely enjoyed this one, and I thought the music to this film was definitely very good. My Bloody Valentine, the remake. It's a shame. I wish I could have saw this movie in 3D, but I saw this in 2D, but I had fun watching this, and I thought the music was actually good. House of Wax, with Paris Hilton in it. I think when this movie came out, I think a lot of people wanted to go see it for two reasons. Either to see it because the movie looked good, or they just want to see it to see if Paris Hilton gets killed. But I just wanted to see this movie because I thought the movie looked good, and it was definitely worth watching, and definitely loved the soundtrack to it. Last House on the Left remake. This is a very fun mixture of horror and suspense here. I definitely like the remake a little bit more than I do the original, but I saw this movie in the theaters, and I was the only one in that theater room by myself watching this movie, and there was no one else in that theater room but me. But I definitely enjoyed this remake here. Definitely end up liking the music. Dawn of the Dead, the remake. This is a very fun remake of the original classic zombie movie here. So this is actually very fun. All the way over here, we have Silent Night, Deadly Night, classic 80s slasher horror movie. Very controversial back in the day when this movie came out. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2. The Burning, very fun net camp slasher 80s horror movie. The Slumber Party Massacre, classic, very fun driller killer movie here. I probably might check out the remake. Double feature of Slumber Party Massacre 2 and 3. Here, these two movies are very fun. Second one's very fun. Third one is okay, but it's a continuation of the driller killer movies. From Beyond by H.P. Lovecraft. This is a very fun, good movie to watch here. Intruder. This is definitely a very fun, classic slasher 80s horror movie. This is like a whodunit kind of thing, where you're trying to figure out who's going around killing off the employees at a supermarket. Maniac Cop. Good movie. The Horror Show, aka House 3. I know some people may not like it, but I ended up liking it because I thought Lance Henriksen did a good job in this movie here. Near Dark. Good. Another classic vampire movie that's definitely one of my favorites. 40th anniversary edition of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, classic. Sleepaway Camp. This is a very fun, classic 80s slasher horror movie. This is like a whodunit kind of thing, and this is where my good friend Felissa Rose got her start. And yes, she signed this one for me. That movie still remains as one of the greatest holy shit moments ever in horror movie history, especially the end. Sleepaway Camp 2, and Sleepaway Camp 3, Black Christmas, the original, classic, good movie. My Bloody Valentine, the original, classic, good one here. Prom Night, the original, another classic slasher 80s horror movie, kind of like a whodunit kind of thing. Terror Train, another fun whodunit kind of thing. The Funhouse, this is a good the 80s horror movie here. Death Spa, this is a very fun 80s horror movie here about how to possess the gym equipment. Psycho, the original, classic. Psycho 2, Psycho 3, and Psycho 4, another TV movie they ended up doing back in the early 90s. Children of the Corn, classic movie from Stephen King. Leviathan, this is a very fun underwater creature feature movie. Carrie, here, the original from Stephen King, classic. Firestarter, another classic Stephen King movie. Monkey Shines, I remember seeing this cover art a long time ago when I was a kid on VHS. I remember seeing this poster art. But this is actually a very fun movie to watch here. I think the monkey was pretty cute too. The Fly, here, with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis from David Cronenberg. Classic, good movie. Candyman. I remember a lot of people telling me that this movie scared the shit out of them when this movie came out a long time ago, back in the early 90s. Candyman 2, Farewell to the Flesh, and Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. Dolls. This is a very fun killer doll movie here. An American Werewolf in London, classic, good movie. The Howling, another classic werewolf movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This is a cheesy 80s B movie that's actually very fun to watch. Hatchet, very fun movie. Hatchet 2, definitely a lot of very unique kills, a lot of blood and a lot of gore in these movies. Hatchet 3, Victor Crowley, aka Hatchet 4. Abominable, Kill a Bigfoot movie, very fun to watch, definitely one of my favorites of Tiffany Shepis. Deep Star 6, another very fun underwater movie. Night of the Living Dead, the original, classic. Dawn of the Dead, classic, the original. Day of the Dead, another classic zombie movie here. And last, The Changeling, very good in the 80s paranormal movie. This movie, well, the movie's also good, but the music just gave me chills and goosebumps. Holy shit. Alright guys, so that's it for shelf number 2. What do you guys think? Is there any movies that you liked that I displayed on this shelf here that you're familiar with, that's your favorites? Please let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for some more videos. Later.